Yeah, at the time I was working there. They were constructing a new like science wing, so they're adding like new buildings, or maybe they were just renovating or something like that. But I can only imagine what goes on in there now.
Wow. Well, I mean, this experience you guys were talking about, this really kind of changed my point of view now about Catholics.
I don't know, but like generally, it does seem to be the case that most Catholics are they're like Michaela. They're much more open-minded about things. Like they may accept evolution is true or like does happen. And I think that's the case with most Catholics. They're like more lenient about like homosexuality and such.
Right, but it's like back in the day, Christians and Catholics in total, right? I remember there would always be the like when I was a believer, there would always be at least enough people that said, no, I believe in evolution, but the days were like eons or something. A day wasn't actually a day, right? Making that rationalization of it, and then when I was like learning. Um, when I was learning biology and realizing like, oh, this is all fucking wrong, I then took a closer look and reread and I'm like, wait a minute, did that just say what I think it said? It said that the creatures of the air came before land animals. Well, so now that's not just a problem of how long a day is, that's an order of operations error, right? And now I can't find a single person giving me that excuse anymore. To like offer this nuance. So wait, yeah, there's more than just the day length that was wrong with it. It's like I don't know. Was I the only believer or one of very few believers who actually took that seriously?
Wait, I was reading something. You said that took what seriously?
Like when I was a believer and I made the excuse like, well, maybe a day isn't quite just a strict day, right? I took that excuse for believing that the Bible could still be true seriously, right? But then when I took a closer look later, as I was questioning it, I go, well, now it's got the order of operations wrong. Well, that's not something you can make sense of or rationalize. Creatures of the air coming before land animals, like there's no excuse for that. There's no way to say some all-knowing God just said that poetically to mean the actual fact that in some roundabout way trying to say no, there were land animals and then some of them evolved to be birds and bugs. Like that, you just don't get that from those words. It's irrational to use those words to mean the facts of what really happened. Like you can make the stretch of maybe a day's not a day and it just was poetically driven at, but no, order of operations does not have that same excuse. Like getting the order of operations wrong is like absolute proof against the Bible. Like you've got this creation story there for a reason to tell you how things happened in order of what happened first, followed by everything else, and then you look back at the actual facts and you see the order of operations wrong. That's proof that the whole fucking thing is wrong. There's no all-knowing God inspired or influenced this work in any way because it's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I was told that it was like metaphorical or poetic, and that God was just trying to speak in terms that the people he was speaking to could understand. And when I got older, I was like, well, I don't think it's that difficult of a concept to understand. Like what God created when and the order it was created in. Like why did that need to be in poetic terms because the people couldn't understand it? I'm like, unless you're claiming that these people were real stupid and like couldn't follow like that.
Yeah. Why would that even be a simplification, right? Like you earlier primitive people had boats at least, right? You get on a boat and you go out far enough into the water, do you still see birds? No. It makes perfect sense that you see a lot of birds in trees. Maybe they were first, there and just put in the trees at least, right? But they were on the land first, not like in the air before there was land. There's nothing confusing about that. It's just a shot in the dark guess that turned out to be wrong and proves that it was made by a bunch of dumb idiots who were just making shit up. Yeah, and I mean that alone, like, it should be game over. Like, by the same standards I held as a believer, that is fucking game over. It's done. Bible disproven. But for whatever reason, that's still not enough for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's just an allegory, Steve. It's just an allegory.
Allegory of the cave is just an allegory. And that certainly has a lot more interesting things implied by it in very obvious ways.
So this is a totally different topic, but I was reading the comments of this because I'm like, am I an asshole or am I just busy? Because like I saw this account by this woman, she's called The Single Woman, and I follow her because she says some funny stuff sometimes. I don't agree with everything she says, but this time she wrote a post and said, if I text a guy and 3 days later he texts, sorry, I was really busy or I have a lot going on, my response is, well, you're not sorry. Take me out of the equation. Now you have one less thing to worry about. And she's like, and move on. And a bunch of comments were like agreeing with her, but some people were like, you know, it totally depends on what stage of the relationship you're in. And if you're talking about just like talking to somebody new, I was like, on my dating apps, sometimes I don't get back to somebody for like maybe 3 days. Sometimes it's even a week, but that's because I'm so freaking busy. And I know I'm in the middle of talking, so I told her before not to do that. But anyway, I'm like, is 3 days like not cool? Like, should I be getting back to people sooner, or like, because I feel like I'm a super busy mom, you know, I have a day job. I also like if I'm dealing with depression, I don't feel like talking to people, you know. And I'm very, you know, I don't know, but like, what do you guys think? If like you were texting me and I like 3 days later it was like, I'm sorry, I'm super busy. Like, how's it going?
Well,
like, would you think I was an asshole?
I think it's a female privilege where most guys usually have to let that go. Like, not that it isn't warranted in its own way, like how things just happen to evolve to be this way, but yeah, like women have more reasons in instincts to like prevent unwanted pregnancy, right? While, you know, men have other motivations where unwanted pregnancies will still benefit their genes, so they're not exactly inclined to prevent unwanted pregnancies or do much to, in fact, do a lot to the opposite, towards the opposite. And so when that translates into like relationship building and dating, you know, yeah, a guy, it's hypocritical for sure, right? But it is just kind of like the way it is that these women are in a position to go, you know, they don't have to care. They don't have an instinct to actually care enough about a guy to be okay with him leaving them hanging for 3 days. Why, you could bet your ass they'll do it without a second thought and expect the guy to not think they're an asshole whatsoever. And most guys won't. They'll just be desperate enough sexually to be like, okay, I guess we could give this another chance. It's frustrating that you left me hanging, but I guess we'll try.
But I'm talking about
to
like
still make something. Maybe it was just an honest mistake.
When like you haven't even met up yet, and you're barely talking.
Yeah.
Like, well, I don't know, because when a guy leaves me and tells me, like, he comes back later and says, "Oh, I was real busy," I always give him. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't. I always give him the benefit of the doubt because